An녕하세요. Dear ladies and gentlemen, I would like, not so long, but briefly present to you the legislation framework in the investment sphere and few words about our plans on future. Today, the current legislation of Ukraine regulates the main principles of guaranteeing equal protection of investor rights, interests, and property in our country. We have a very broad developed legislation framework. The law of Ukraine of investment activity provides the main provision of activity and state support for implementation of investment projects. The law on production sharing agreements defines the terms for concluding special agreements in the field of subsoil use. On the regime of foreign investment, this law abolishes the state registration of foreign investment, which was postponed, and establish the release of investment from custom duties with the take-it consent. We also have the very good on PPP, public-private partnership law, which regulates relations between the state or municipality partner from one side and investor for the implementation different kind of PPP model in infrastructure sector. Law on industrial park regulates relations on the creation and development of industrial park in Ukraine. At that moment, we have more than 30 registered industrial park and also 8 acting private industrial parks. Law on concession now under the change amendment, the legislation is being improved. The new edition was adopted in the first reading, and now we include improves the legal regulation of concession activities, envisages incorporation of the best international practices to attract private business in infrastructure development, and this work we do together with EBRD, the European Bank of Reconstruction and Development. The President Petro Poroshenko signed a decree approving the Ukraine 2020 Sustainable Development Strategy. Here we present you short the governance plans and programs, and I know today Mr. Kubiv say a few words about our main plans. We have a medium-term plan of priority action of the government 2020, state strategy for regional development 2020, and another important governmental plans and programs. The issue of increasing investment attraction into Ukrainian economy is one of the most important issues right now. The inflow of foreign direct investment is a significant factor. It's in recognizing the stable development of the economy, confirming the readiness of investors to work in Ukraine and cooperate with the government. Ukraine became an associate member of the OECD Investment Committee last year, and the government of Ukraine signed the agreement with this organization on joining the Declaration on International Investment and Multinational Enterprises. Also, government established the public office for attracting and supporting investment. Its name Invest Ukraine. According to the state strategy for regional development, the issue of development regional networks of industrial parks to access to electricity networks, water supply networks, and providing state support to the entity that create such parks. January 19, 2016, the economic section of the free trade zone between Ukraine and the European Union started. The purpose of the FTA is to facilitate mutual access to the markets for goods and services, as well as to harmonize Ukraine rules and regulation with EU norms. The free trade area has pushed for integration with European legislation and has become an additional opportunity for exports to many producers. In August 1st of 2017, the free trade agreement between Ukraine and Canada began to work. Canada is expected to open 98 of its market for goods covered by bilateral trade since the entry into the force of the agreement. And important achievements in stabilizing the economic situation is that Ukraine has risen in world ranking. Ukraine has improved its position in the Doing Business rating and ranked 76 among 190 countries. Last year, increasing its position by 4 points. Today, a systematic approach to the implementation of state policy in the field of entrepreneurship development and the use of principle of better international practice has been formed to create favorable conditions for the opening, maintenance and growth of small and medium enterprises. Thus, the government approved the strategy for development small and medium-sized entrepreneurships in Ukraine for the period 2020 and developed the plan of measures for its realization. Regarding the public investment management, a few years ago, Parliament was approved amendments to the budget code, and the government has established a transparent mechanism for selecting state investment projects and their inclusion into the draft of the state budget for the following years. I want to ensure you that the further implementation of the integrity of the comprehensive reform of the Ukrainian economy is a top priority of the government of Ukraine. In practice, the focus will be on the creation of favorable conditions for taxation, the development of small and medium enterprises, the intensification of privatization process. This year, adopt a special law for privatization, which started this process, the expansion of foreign economic relations, the provision of equal conditions for doing business, and the conduct of deregulation. Challenges for the government in this year will be the continuation of the reform for the healthcare reform, reform of education and pension reform, as well as the continuation of reform of the customs. Ministries now work at the development of the prior investment plan, and it will be on the draft. It consists from 5 basic infrastructure sector: transport, power, engineering, environment, digital infrastructure, and productive infrastructure, and also 5 important infrastructure for life quality: health, skills, social, culture, safety, and municipal infrastructure. I hope that our key person for the ministries, for line ministries, Mr. Dolhan and Ms. Boyka and Mr. Savchuk represent the prior project for these sectors, for sectors which are responsible for basic infrastructure development. I only give you brief information about basic infrastructure, digital infrastructure. This year, government approved the concept of development of the digital economy and society of Ukraine. The main purpose is to ensure the implementation of the initiatives of the Digital Agenda 2020 of Ukraine, which will help eliminate the barriers to digital transformation. Therefore, important tasks for Ukraine to stimulate the economy and attract investment are overcoming digital inequality, deepening cooperation with the world in the digital field, and development, innovation, and digital infrastructure. Thank you very much, and I give floor to next representative.